Hello, and welcome to our lesson on customer and project team trust-based relationships. This segment will cover managing conflict. For many leaders and team members, the nightmare scenario at their workplace involves coworkers engaged in conflict. Common sources of conflict include schedules, project priorities, resources, technical operations and tools, administrative procedures, cost, and personalities, along with hundreds of others based on the context. These conflicts may simply involve clashing personalities. They may be genuinely complex disagreements regarding the work at hand. Either way, many workers would rather avoid conflict in the first place. Personalities aside, a mature project leader understands that conflict is in fact necessary and can be extremely productive. Because people can be passionate about their work, leaders understand that passion can lead to disagreement and, in extreme situations, even regrettable behavior. What's more, successful projects and a good decision-making process both heavily rely on a regular, productive debate, which can appear as conflict. Debate and conflict are close relatives, both thrive in the productive workplace, and the most successful leaders know how to strategize them to achieve productive ends. Although conflict is necessary, it can be extremely uncomfortable at times. This is why the managed conflict building block sits directly on top of the trust building block. If team members are to have regular and productive conflict, they need to trust each other. Part of the need for basic ground rules, discussed in the last section, is the need for conflict norms. The ground rules of conflict. These rules may include the following. Debate should surround a decision yet to be made, not one that's already been decided. Focus on the debated topic. It is easy to wander to new disagreements that don't directly relate. Avoid non-contributing statements, rhetoric, or name-calling. These don't speak directly to the topic of the debate. Building trust cautions against violating the trust or confidentiality of fellow team members. When debate degrades into a personal dispute, opportunities to destroy trust become abundant. Be extremely careful. Listen respectfully, talk softly, avoid defensiveness, and back up statements with factual examples or data when possible. Agree to reach a consensus and ensure that all parties agree to wholeheartedly support the resulting decision, regardless of whether they agree individually. It's important to distinguish consensus, in which all parties feel that their view has been properly considered before a decision is made, from a simple majority vote that doesn't always reflect every single voter's opinion. In some cases, a conflict will escalate beyond the ability for self-resolution, and the project leader will be forced to intervene. Whether you are a project leader or a team member, understanding basic conflict resolution techniques, and when each is appropriate, is an important skill to develop. There are different applicable techniques. The first one is confronting or problem solving. Often considered the optimal solution, directly confronting conflict is a method of problem solving and follows a standard process. 1. Define the real root problem. 2. Analyze the problem. 3. Identify solutions. 4. Choose a solution. 5. Implement a solution. 6. Review the solution and confirm that it solved the problem and repeat if necessary. When it works, when conflict needs to be solved once and for all. When it may not work, confronting the conflict is time-consuming. When deadlines or danger are present, it may not be a good option. Second, compromising. When compromising, each party makes concessions to the other, reaching a mutually accepted conclusion. When it works, when each option is roughly equivalent and no superior choice seems to exist, compromising can often be the most expedient solution to conflict. When it may not work, in some cases, a two-option solution isn't optimal. It may cause parties to choose a subset of what they want rather than considering a mutually beneficial third option, which leads to a lose-lose resolution. Third, withdraw or avoidance. When disagreeing parties can't reach a conclusion, one or more choose to remove themselves from the situation, and this ends the conflict. When it works, this technique works best when the conflict is personality-based or trivial rather than an actual, significant debate pertinent to the project. In some cases, postponement may be beneficial. Giving time to change emotional states, intervention by another party is needed, or a cooling off period may help. When it may not work, when the parties in conflict need to work closely together, especially if time critical work is needed for the success of the project. Fourth, smoothing or accommodating. As the name implies, smoothing involves placing the concerns of others before your own. When it works, accommodating a stakeholder who is extremely important to the health of the project. Smoothing also can allow time for both parties to think over the situation at hand. It also has the potential to work if the issue is less important to one party than the other. The party that is less concerned with the issue concedes to the other. When it may not work, accommodating, like compromise, leaves at least one party unsatisfied. This could damage the project down the line, and there is also the potential for the accommodated party to abuse the other party. In addition, some people see smoothing as a sign of weakness and may be offended by it. Fifth, collaborating. Often considered an optimal solution for conflict resolution, collaborating involves conflicting parties, working together to find a solution that satisfies everyone. The result is often a previously unconsidered third option. When it works, collaborating can work especially well when more than two parties are involved. A reasonable, non-emotional demeanor is best, as is an environment in which parties have a high level of trust for each other. When it may not work, collaboration often takes longer than other conflict resolution techniques, so a looming deadline, impending threat, untrusting parties, or unknown agendas can make it impractical or frustrating for all involved. The last style, forcing or competing. Forcing involves an authority figure making a decision and forcing an end to the conflict. When it works, a deadline or danger requires a quick decision or immediate resolution to the conflict. Forcing is also appropriate when one party's position or plan violates rules or ethical standards. It has possible value as a last resort option. When it may not work, forcing often doesn't resolve the conflict. It can leave the problem largely unsolved, with the potential still there for the conflict to reappear at an even more inappropriate time in the future. Although trust and conflict resolution are the foundation of a team's needs by themselves, they typically aren't enough to create a productive team environment. The next three, commitment, accountability, and results, are where the rubber meets the road for a project team. This is the end of this segment of our lesson. In the next segment, we shall discuss managing conflict and team building. This course is presented to you by South Europe College. Thank you for listening, and see you on our next segment.